Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the power of educating our own. This is a show that is broadcast by the Clara Mohammed Schools Network. And I am one of your co hosts, Marsha Nivens Mohammed, and I have my co host.
Patricia Salahuddin, welcome everyone.
Welcome, welcome. We thank you for joining us again. We are simulcasting both on Facebook, YouTube, actually both, but actually on Facebook, YouTube, and AM360. So also welcome to our AM360 listeners. And then we have viewers on social media on Facebook and on YouTube. And so we're glad to be back in this space. We missed you last week. We had a replay, and we replayed our show about financing the schools, which is such an important topic that we felt like that was the show to be able to re-air for others to watch and I guess be motivated by some ideas around how the schools can be supported financially in some very unique ways. We're in 2024. Finance has come a long way. There are so many things that we could do to help to facilitate the strength of our schools on that in that area. And so that was a show that was replayed. We were actually at A Time to Be Grateful, which was a success. So we are happy that happened and it's over, right?
Because yes, yes,
we're both on the planning team, so that is that's no easy feat. We have met for months to pull that off, and it happened, and it was a wonderful time to be able to see community from all across the country and abroad. We had some guests join us from Bermuda, so that was nice.
Yes.
For the Clara Mohammed Schools Network, we work with schools all across the country as well as Bermuda. So it was nice to know that Bermuda was also in the building for A Time to Be Grateful. And we had a workshop. We were able to host one of the workshops at A Time to Be Grateful, and we had some. We had a nice size room in terms of people coming in and wanting to hear more about the work that is happening with the schools across the country, full-time, weekend, virtual, international, right? And so that was also a good conversation to be had amongst those who were present. And today, we are going to continue the conversation that we were having in the previous live show where we were talking about the garden, right? The garden on our school premises that we are able to then bring alive in the classroom. And on that previous show, we talked to some master gardeners, right? We have a garden in Atlanta, the school in Atlanta. We also have a garden in Detroit. And so we had those guests on with us, Sister Faith and Sister, I lost her name.
Sister Terry.
Terry, yes, I lost her name. And I don't know how it went out of my mind, but I could see her face, but I lost it that quick. But it was a great conversation. So many people were interested in the follow-up of that conversation, just to kind of learn more as to kind of what do you do beyond that point, right? We have this garden on the premises. What do we do with it? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We have three guests with us. The first guest we have is Chef Anissa. And she is the one who provides food for the cafeteria from the garden, right, or the farm. I'm not sure the terminology. I think one of them might use the term farm, but garden, farm, same concept, right? And so we're going to talk to her about how it gets from the garden into the school, right, and give us some ideas around that. And then we have two educators with us, Sister Tazar and Sister Sadia, who are going to talk to us about how we then use that in the classroom. And I'm gonna let them introduce themselves to you. But I like that we have a kindergarten instructor as well as a middle school instructor, because those are two very different categories of children and their development and what they accept and reject and all of those great things. And so, without further ado, I want to bring our guests on so that they have an opportunity to directly introduce themselves, and we'll get this conversation started. So I'll start. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Alaikum salam.
Walaikum
Walaikum
salam.
assalam.
Yes. I'll start with Chef Anissa. If you can introduce yourself to us and tell us who you are.
Hi. Yes, I'm Chef Anissa Lewis. I am the farm to cafeteria chef at the school, in the school in Atlanta, of course. And I am an educational chef. I am a caterer, and I like to call myself a gourmet lunch lady.
Hey, I love that. I
Yeah.
like that. And then we'll go to Sister Tazar.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Walaikum
My name
salam.
is Tazar Gibson Tanner. I am the middle school science teacher. So that's sixth grade, earth science, seventh grade, life science, and eighth grade is physical science, and as well as their students receiving an education in their core subjects. They also receive an education in agricultural science and engineering in middle school.
Nice. Listen, I have a middle schooler in my house, so I know what you be going through in that classroom. But it's wonderful to have you with us. And then Sister Sadia.
Yes, my name is Sister Sadia Abdul Hakim. I am a kindergarten teacher. What we do, we plant. We encourage the children to eat. They love it because they can see it from we've planted and they've eaten what they planted. So it's an exciting time for them, and they're very inquisitive.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And so we'll jump right into the conversation. Chef Anissa, how do we get it from the garden into the school? Like, what is that preparation like? In my mind, I'm just like, okay, we're outside, we're planting things, but like, y'all, we gonna eat it like 5 minutes, after we just go it outside. How do we do that?
Teamwork. Completely teamwork. Actually, when I started, I have a friend whose boys go to the school, and she had asked me to come, check it out. She said they might be looking for a chef, so I did. And I was looking out in that farm, and I was like, y'all got some chard growing out here. Y'all have kale. Y'all have like a whole bunch of herbs, all of this stuff. And I was like, well, are you feeding into the kids? And the answer was no, they didn't, because they didn't know how to do that, like to get it from the dirt to the plate. And actually, Sister Tazar, she does a lot with that. Because like the middle schoolers are the ones that do a lot of the harvesting, as far as I know. Am I correct?
Yes.
Mhm.
So we have agricultural science classes every Monday. We call it Ag Day, where we harvest for the cafeteria, for enough to share our food pantry, or we harvest for the community itself, our student body. So students during that class, we pack a lot in that hour, and I teach that class with Sister Terry, who was on last week, and we harvest for the cafeteria, so and deliver. So we harvest, give a first wash, and deliver that food to the cafeteria for Sister for Anissa to cook up for us.
Mhm. And that's the first step. That's why I was like kind of directed to Tazar, because I know they do a lot of hard work in that class doing just that, just getting it to me. So then now I'm like, okay, because on my menus that I plan out, every month, I just put garden veggies on the menu because I don't know what I'm going to get sometimes. Sometimes I have no idea. I don't know what's going on the menu, what fresh vegetables are going to get. And so I'll take it. And on Monday, they'll give it to me. By Tuesday, it's on the plate. Because on Monday, I think I get it by like maybe 9 o'clock. So I'm already working on lunch for that day. So by Tuesday or Wednesday, it's on the plate. And I wash it again. I chop it up. Sometimes I blanch and freeze just to preserve things. But most of the time, it goes out. And I don't have to, freeze or anything too much.
So it's fresh.
Oh yeah, it's fresh. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love to see when the kids will bring it to me though. It's my favorite. It's my favorite because they'll come down with a couple of trays of vegetables and I'm like, what is it? And they explain to me what it is. I usually know what it is, but I ask them anyway. And yeah, it's just good to see. Sometimes it's the same kids and they just come,
Nice. Yeah, no, I think that's amazing, right? And I love and also am frightened by like you don't necessarily know what's gonna show up. But and I also go ahead, Cesar.
That's the beautiful thing about Chef Anissa is that we can bring her a pan of something or a few pans of something, and she has no idea what's coming because it's not like a grocery store. That's the thing about a garden and having a farm to table program. Your chef has to be flexible. They have to know how to prepare garden fresh food, and they have to be flexible in their menu for that week because a lot of people go shopping for that week. They have everything planned out and there's no wiggle room. So with our chef, thankfully, we have a lot of wiggle room because we don't know what's going to be in harvest. FYI, it'll probably be broccoli when we go back.
You said broccoli? Good,
Yeah,
because those kids always say they don't like broccoli and then they tear it up when I make it. So
yeah, because they grow with it. So, and they feel a connection to their food that they are growing. So they plant the plants, the seedlings, or the plant, or the seed. They water, they weed. So when they get garden veggies, they actually grew the food. And you have to be flexible if you're going to have that kind of program, and you have to have a chef that knows how to cook garden food, knows what to expect, and not necessarily freaked out by I don't want to say bugs because
I grew up eating out of the backyard.
bugs
What's a
on
bug?
food. Bugs on all food.
Yeah.
Just
And
pick them off.
and we call it ugly food sometimes, but it's perfectly good. But we have this idea that all food is supposed to be perfect. The leaves are supposed to be perfect and no holes in them. So we have a chef that is able to recognize, oh, that's still good food. That's and knows how to work with it, and I think that's a blessing.
Yeah.
And also,
Go ahead.
I wanted to say that the kindergarten children, this is their first or second experience because pre-K is involved also. And so when they go out to the garden, they're able to now know what hibiscus is, how to eat the hibiscus leaves. They know now about there's a part where we have the lavender growing. They know how Sister Terry had told them how to take the stevia plant and put it with one and taste it sweet. And so that's in the summertime, or in the fall or early summer. And then they can recognize the raspberries. If it's all the way red, they know they can eat it. And just now because of the weather change, we have a garden day on Thursdays. So someone comes out, farmer comes out, and the children go out, even they have their coats on. And the last 2 weeks ago, they were able to use the electric tiller to till the dirt because it's winter plants are growing. So they're able to recognize, and we're talking about children 4, 5, and 6 years old. Now they're able to recognize and they're able to participate. And so when they eat Chef Anissa's food, at lunchtime they know that that's what it is. As an eating, so it's a full cycle.
So to me, it's exciting. The mere fact that our children know where food come from, because some children have no idea where their food is coming from. They did not. They see it in the grocery store, maybe, but a lot of times they see it in a box,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
bag, and to see it coming from the dirt. I mean, actually, no, they put it in the dirt.
They put
They
in the
see
dirt.
it grow, and then they pick it or harvest it, and then they eat it. That is so amazing. So, what kind of response do you get from them when they're eating what they have grown? What do you see in their faces? What kind of comments are they making?
The When I first started working there, last year, I had a lot of kids who were like, I don't eat that. And they were just like, I don't like that. I had a carrot mutiny. Um the first, I think it was the first or second week. And I had several children tell me they were allergic to carrots. Now, I talked to all the parents before and I said, you guys have to let me know which kids are allergic to so that I do not put it in the food. You have to do that. That's on you. So I knew but I did some phone calls and some emails, and the parents were like, they're not. So they were telling me they didn't like things because they didn't like the way they've had them before.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so what I had to do with things like, carrots or sometimes kale, like sometimes a lot of still now, they don't want it or they don't like it. So if they say they don't like it, I do it in a different way. But I have turned a lot of veggie haters into veggie likers, and I really, it's visible. I can see it. Like, yeah, I can see it. Like little in your class, Sadia, little Najashi says he doesn't like
Yes,
anything.
yes, he eats
Listen,
nothing.
I love that child. He
Yes,
he likes food. He just doesn't always know what it is.
yes,
And now he'll sit down and eat it.
yes.
And to me, that's a win.
And
That's
they show
that's
me their plates because if some, a couple of students like Ayla and those, they
mhm,
know now that they have to show me their tray, and then if I have to feed them a little bit, so eat some of this, and so they
mhm.
know. And so even with when we have the garden club, they have if they like it, thumbs up. If they so, some people we have one that's, but they're encouraging because we're exposing it to them, and
Mhm.
they feel safe. Because you don't know until you taste it.
Exactly. And that's what I always ask them to. Like the kids have agency. If they don't want something, I'm not gonna be like, you have to eat this. I'm like, okay, well, do you want to try a little piece? If they want to try a little piece, sometimes they come back and they're like, yeah, I do. And it just depends on the way it's being prepared. Like we do a lot of Asian days, like we'll do like Korean food, we'll do Chinese takeout day, we'll do Indian food. And it's the same vegetables, it's the same stuff, but it's in a different, you know, way of preparing it with different spices. And some of those kids, they're surprised.
Yeah.
They're
And
surprised.
so we do a lot of cooking because it's
Mhm,
not just enough to grow food. You have to sometimes change palettes or introduce
mhm,
children to new tastes.
Mhm.
So in middle school, we do a lot of cooking upstairs in our garden room, um, to teach them or to just expose them to different tastes. Like we'll make kale salads, we'll make eggplant pizzas, right out the garden. Go pick it, let's prepare it, let's wash it, let's dress it up. We make salad dressings. Let's see which ones you like, which ones you don't like. And like Chef Anissa was saying, we give them opportunity to say what they like or how would you like it better. A lot of kids,
mhm,
their favorite thing would be Sister Terry's good for a veggie wrap. Some veggies and a nice dressing. Like all they need is some chicken. But they eat the veggies, right? And they at least try them. So
mhm,
before you can, inundate people with a whole bunch of fresh veggies, you got to teach them how to eat them. So
mhm,
we did butternut squash the other day. Sister Terry cooked butternut squash in the garden room so they could have an introduction to butternut squash. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Now, those children know what a butternut squash is, how long it takes to grow, and all that kind of stuff. So just introducing them to vegetables, having them at least taste it. They don't have to like it. Just try it. That's
mhm,
the big step. And you grew it. I mean, eat some, try it out. And I think that works wonders with our children and getting them to eat their veggies. if they
And
grow it. And
kindergarten.
we ask them, what do you like to eat? And we plant it and grow it so they can eat it. Some kids like carrots. So
Yeah.
one of my friends, her son loves carrots. So we plant carrots. He comes and eats carrots out the ground. She has to grab them and wash them first, you know. So
Mm.
we like to plant things that they like to eat, and they like to grow things they like to eat, especially the fruit. So we put in more orchards so they'd have more fruit to eat. Like the kindergarten garden is near the raspberries.
Oh
So
yes.
they have the raspberries and blackberries and muscadines when they start
Muscadine. The
coming,
muscadine.
and
Oh, the muscadine.
and blackberries that they
Yes,
love to just
they
go
love
out
it.
and eat. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing to see kids outside eating stuff, in the garden, off the
Yeah.
tree, off
Oh,
the bush.
yeah.
And we really try to promote that.
Yeah,
So I have another question about you have the now the eating and the tasting. So how what kind of lessons do you do with them to make the connect the garden to the science, or connect garden to an ayat or hadith, or
Well,
how do you do that?
what what we do is for especially for kindergarten, and we look at the variety. One thing we said, Allah is the creator of everything, and He makes everything beautiful. And so and then you look at the variety of the. I stress this is why we say Allahu Akbar. God is great, because look at the different leaves. Look at the raspberry. They're not the same. Look at the flowers that grow. They're not the same. So they can see why we say what we say. Make the connection, not just they're not words. This is why we say, wow, Allahu Akbar. Look at this. And you can compare and contrast how they're the same, how they're different. It tastes different. And I tell them, no man can produce this. Even when we see the bugs, that I said, oh, just say salam alaikum to them. Salam alaikum. Give you, and they don't. I'm not scared of bugs. Say they don't. We go in, we do what we need to do, and so they just they take it in stride as if it's a matter of fact. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
So science is the study of the natural world,
Yes,
and the natural world is Allah's creation. So
yes,
first, with all my classes, we start with that. We're just studying Allah's creation in science. In any subject that is taught, from engineering to life science, earth science, physical science, all of it you can find in the earth and in the garden. Math, one of the kindergarten lessons I liked doing when I was teaching like fifth grade, for fifth grade, they did square foot gardening. Oh, that's all measurement. That's all division. Okay, now that you got that bed that is 12 feet long, divided into square feet, uh, we're gonna rope it off with some twine. Now I need to plant some carrots. Now 12 carrots can go in a square foot, but I want equal rows. So how many carrots do we put in each row? How many rows do we have? And having them figure that out outside. That's math and things of that sort.
and the
Whenever
five
we do,
senses. We use our
huh?
the five senses. You taste it,
Yeah.
smell it, all those things, especially for Kenny, our five senses. We definitely stress that. So,
Hmm.
can you hear the eggplant? No. Can you taste it with color? The texture, does it feel smooth, rough? What part of
Yeah.
it? So those things are. So that's what we use. Also, the five
Uh,
senses.
Hmm.
I think that all of that is super amazing, right? And it's simple in that, like, we're taking, like you all said, like, we're taking Allah's creation, and we're making food from what the sustenance that was provided for us. I love that the middle schoolers are harvesting these the various different vegetables. Like, I think that's so amazing, and I want to hear more about that. But we're gonna do a station identification. This is the power of educating our own. You are joined by the Clara Muhammad Schools Network, along with our guests, Chef Anissa, and educators, Sister Tazar and Sister Sadia, from Muhammad Schools of Atlanta. And we are having a discussion about bringing the garden into the classroom, how to engage our children in with the garden into the curriculum as well as in the cafeteria. And I think it's so amazing what they are doing, and this is a beautiful model for us to duplicate all across our school system. For those of you who are joining us on social media platforms, that's Facebook or YouTube, let us know where you are joining us from. Put a comment in the comment box and let us know who you are and where you're joining us from. We always like to see who's with us, as well as if you have a question, feel free to throw that in the comment box as well. And for those of you who are on AM 360 and listening to us, if you have a question, we're more than willing to hear your question and get that question answered. And so I just wanted to take that moment to do the station identification, and we'll jump back into the conversation. So this harvesting, right? Um, you know, what exactly are you doing? How are the children? Well, I mean, you talked a little bit about how they're responding to it, but just kind of take us through the harvesting piece, so we know exactly what's happening, because that's where it's starting before it gets to Chef Anissa, as she's stated.
So you have a middle schooler. So it sounds really nice when you say it, but it's a struggle.
Uh-huh.
Some of these lessons they will not appreciate until later in life. But growing food and harvesting food, I think growing food is just like learning life skills, like cleaning your room or learning how to clean up. You just got to do it, you know? So a lot of the time it looks like that. This is what we're going to do. So we start with our growing, and they are able to identify, or we teach them how to identify foods ready for harvest. Because first you got to know, where did you put it in the ground? So first we start by um, sometimes labeling when we put something in the ground. We're counting how long, we take note how long it takes to get to harvest. How many weeks has it been? Is it going to grow anymore? What do you think? Is this time for this to come out? Can we get some leaves off of it? So, at our school, we don't harvest the whole plant at one time. We harvest parts of the plant so we can get a continuous harvest, like let's say collard greens, right? If you take the whole plant out the ground, then that's your bunch of collards that you got for Thanksgiving. At our school, we pick leaves off and let the plant off of multiple leaves and let the plant continue to grow so we can get a longer harvest. And we can just eat continuously off the same plants instead of planting plant after plant after plant after plant. And that feeds us for a while through the winter and in the summer. And then finally, when they've given us all they can, we'll pull them out. So that's one of the things that we do. And the middle schoolers, they go through and they pick off collard leaves that are ready or kale leaves that are ready. Careful to leave the plant in the ground so it can continue to grow. Uh, Careful to not get the food dirty. You want to do a clean harvest, so you don't have to wash uh, too much. And most of the time, when you see food that's growing in the ground, it's not dirty. It's
The
just
soil.
yeah, it's just soil, so the leaves are not dirty. So let's not get it dirty. So that's a lesson in itself. Let's do how to do a clean harvest. And then they go to our washing stations, which we have at the school in the garden, and they learn how to wash the vegetables. If there are any bugs on them, they know how to identify most times which bugs are beneficial and which ones are not. Or if they see any bug eggs, sometimes you see bug eggs on food. Okay, this was not good. Let's put this in the compost. So, all those things are what they learn in terms of growing and harvesting food. I don't think it registers at the time. Like I said, it'll be lessons that they learn later, that they know that they like, how do I know that? A little bit later. And then we put the food in containers that are going to go to the cafeteria or in the walk-in. So we don't take care of necessarily the bucket that we pick the food in. We have clean containers that we put our washed food in that goes down to Sister, excuse me, Chef Anissa in the kitchen. And they deliver it, and she stores it. However, she gives it another wash or whatever. But that's part of the harvesting process, and they watch their food. And one of the other lessons we learn in that process is when you have a farm, you have a whole list of things that you think you're going to go out and do that day, but your farm actually dictates what you're going to do that day. So Sister Terry and I may have a plan that we're going to do, oh, XYZ, but we find out that we need to pick tomatoes, or we need to pick some kale, or we need to thin something out, or we need to uh, have some salad for Taco Tuesday or whatever. So that dictates what we do that day. And the kids have gotten really fast at doing multiple things. Like one group will go harvest kale or greens or whatever they're harvesting, and somebody else will put some more plants in, or water. So they get pretty good at taking care of their farm and making sure that cafeteria food is in cafeteria. We have food to go to enough to share our food pantry at the Atlanta Masjid, and also we supplement sometimes our teachers and their foods foods that supplement teachers with food that they can take home, and students can as well. So
Yes.
some students like to pick teas, like we have different herbs that
Oh
our
yes.
volunteers have picked. We have a
Yeah.
lovely selection of herbs that make great teas, and they go out and pick teas depending on how they feeling. Like now they have learned, like if I have a tummy ache, let me go get some mint and some
Yeah.
lemon balm or some
Lemon balm.
lemongrass,
Yes.
and they have them a tea kettle where they can make their tea. And we
Yeah.
have we have bees, so they have their own honey,
Oh,
and they know how to make remedies to help themselves feel better.
yes. We had
So
a
they're
first
learning
grade.
that as well.
We had a kindergarten student. He used to get a lot of anxiety, and so he knew that he got that lemon balm, and then he remembered from the next year. He said, "Oh, I need that lemon balm." So you just don't know. You're literally planting seeds. And also, I want to say that with Chef Anissa, you see that smile? That's a real smile. And so when they come, the lunch lady. What do you want? That's not what's happening. So the
Oh no, I'm not
service,
like what was it on The
yeah,
Simpsons? The lady,
yes,
what do you have?
that's how she is. You see her face. That's how it is. And that even I have some actors who come in there with whatever, but she has a smile, and I think that in itself helps it along. Because we can encourage, but it takes all of us to make this happen. And also the other, even we talking about the plants, but the insects, like we're doing an insect study. And so they don't have to figure out what does it look like. They can see for themselves. And Sister Terry's good at saying, oh, these bees go in the tunnel and they go down, they come up, and we can see them come up. And just so much that they can see. You can't get this anywhere else. I'm from
No,
New York City. So you can't get this is Alhamdulillah, all praises to Allah.
Yeah,
So another
absolutely. I
lesson
was
we
saying,
did
I'm a
for
Jersey girl, and so everything outside is concrete, right? And
Yeah,
when I went to Miami, Dr. Patricia hasn't shared, but she has a garden at her home.
oh,
And when I
wonderful.
went to her home, like she was just like, I'm gonna make you all tea, me and my husband." And she like went outside
you
and
got some
got
Yep,
some
tea.
stuff and came back in and
Yeah,
made us tea. And I was just like, "Oh,
yep.
that's great." It
see, I
was
grew
really
up in the country, so to me that this is normal. When I saw the garden, I was like, this is normal. I grew up I'd still like walk around barefoot in summer in my yard. Like that's the kind of person that I am, you
yeah.
know. But I see
You
what you
know,
mean.
And one of the
it's,
lessons we did with our fourth, fifth graders was a lesson on the Boston Tea Party. So this is social studies. Um,
hmm
and I think it was the Daughters of the Revolution. After the all the guys dumped the tea in the harbor,
yeah,
the women went out to see what other tea or whatever what they could make for tea. Uh, and so we went out foraging in our garden, and the students had to find herbs that they could make tea from. And they came up with some pretty good combinations based on the herbs we have in the garden. And we have one of those students in 8th grade now, and she's an avid herb tea drinker. She'll go out and I tell you, it's like she's a little old lady. She have a little coffee mug and everything. She goes out, she knows the herbs she wants to pick, and she knows how to identify them. And she goes and makes herself a cup of tea and walks around sipping in her mug. It's a beautiful thing. It really is.
Mashallah, this is so wonderful. And as I'm listening to you talk, and I'm thinking, we talk about the skills that children are learning, and you did say that it'll dawn on them later. Something they'll think about later in life. They're actually learning how to collect data.
Yes.
They're learning how to do research.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're learning how to be they're learning medicine, because
Yes.
the food is our medicine, and the medicine is our food. And we really want to get healed. That's what we do. We go with the food. And so
Yes.
they're learning all of these things now as kindergarten, middle schoolers, elementary grade levels. This is one of the wonderful things is that someone touched on it earlier, but you don't have to go anywhere to get the hands-on. You get it right there. You don't have to buy anything with the touchy feeling things. You don't have to do that. You go right out to the garden, and you can pick some things from the garden, and you can get the color, especially with kindergarten. You can get the color, you're getting the feel, the touch, the scent.
Yes.
You get everything
Right there.
right there. You don't have to go purchase anything from anybody. That is so amazing. So fantastic.
And it's ours.
And it's
Right.
ours. Yes.
That's the clap back. It's ours. That's the clap back.
And we also do some classes for adults. We had a series this summer on food
Yes.
preservation.
I was so proud of y'all. I was so proud of y'all when y'all was doing that.
We missed you. You didn't come.
Say
But
what?
we learned how to make all kind of stuff this summer using things from the garden. And I think that takes a different way of thinking, that you have to train yourself to think. Instead of I want to eat this, you say, what can I eat that's available?
Mhm.
And so we learned how to make blueberry preserves. Now we could have made strawberry preserves, but we had blueberries, so we
Mhm.
figured out how to make blueberry preserves. We harvested all kind of teas for drying. We learned how to make bread to go with those jams. Learned how to make tinctures from the herbs that we have in our garden. Uh, I mean, it was just so much. What else did we do?
Yogurt.
We
Y'all
learned how to
learned to
make
make yogurt.
yogurt and
Mhm.
infused honeys
Mhm.
with our from our bees. Learned how to make sourdough bread. So it was just so we teach all around. We not only teach the students, but also the adults in our
Community.
community
Yes.
how they can utilize our garden. 'Cause it is for Dose Garden Community Garden at Mohammed Schools of Atlanta.
And
So
also
everybody can
because
go.
the weather is changing, and so
Hmm.
all the plants that they saw that were alive now they look
Yeah,
dead. And Allah
yeah,
says that I'm gonna make it dead, and then it's gonna come back. So when we do our seasons, they can see. You
yeah,
take pictures of it when it's full, because we do a tree study, and then the plants are not there, and then amazing in the springtime they can see with their own eyes. Wow, I just and so they can see based on the plants, the 4 seasons. They going through it, they see it, they got they use the electric till to do the soil. He said, no, we're not doing this anymore. They're going, we put planting winter vegetables, so they can see the transitions in real time. That is amazing.
I think that is awesome. And I want to talk a little bit about like how we're being able to pull from the Quran to bring in to bring all this stuff to life, because I really want to know, like, is it a difficult thing? Is it easy? But before we do that, I do want to acknowledge those who are with us. So we have Sister Ramona Hassan, who is tuning in from Atlanta, Georgia. Love to see that. Thank you for being with us. And we have Imam Nadir who is from Detroit, and they are his school, Class Academy, is one of the schools in the Clara Mohammed Schools Network. And then we have those who are joining with us on AM 360. And if anyone else is joining us on social media, don't be shy. Put your information in the comment box so we can know who's with us. I do have a question from a caller on AM 360. Caller 3149, you can ask your question. Caller 3149, are you with us? Okay. Maybe not. We may need to get them back on, but we did have a question on AM 360. We'll see if we can accommodate that person before we get off. But so, you know, you all talked a little bit about like bringing in those ayats from the Quran into the lessons. Like for those schools and those educators that are, because we have a whole gamut of levels of institutions in the network, right? Some of our schools have been around for a while and are more advanced in their skill sets and just having more experience in the education that they provide. And other schools are either revamping, they're doing something on the weekend, they're doing online instruction. And so I want to know from the instructors and from Chef Anissa, if you have input, like how are we, or is it difficult to pull in from Quran? Because that's one of the things that I find for and we have our caller, so I'm gonna make sure we get the question for our caller. But I'm gonna pose this question, and if I have to repeat it after the caller, I will. But I do want to know if it's easy or challenging to incorporate Quran into the instruction as it relates to what we're doing with the garden in the classroom. And part of the reason I'm asking that is because a lot of times in Islamic instruction or in our Islamic schools, right, the concept is that we're going to have an Islamic school. We're going to pull the children from a previous environment that they may have been in, but we don't necessarily marry the two in a real way. The Islamic education and the academic instruction is really about just putting them in a better environment. So hold your responses to that one. I do want to acknowledge the caller on AM 360. And so caller 3149, ask your question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Alhamdulillah, Sister Karam Mohammed from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. What I just want to ask the sister, do she plant her seed by the moon?
Oh, so that's for I guess that would be for the middle schoolers who are harvesting correct me if I'm wrong. The question is, are the seeds planted by the moon? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
By moon cycle. So that is a method of planting that I learned from one of my teachers, Brother Ross Kofi. He's a big proponent of planting by the moon. However, our school schedule doesn't necessarily lend to that. So I would say no, but I think they have, I know what you're talking about, but I don't think we necessarily plant by the moon cycles at the school.
Gotcha.
But I understand the reason behind the question, and I understand why you asked that question. But no, we don't.
Okay.
At this time.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for answering that too for us. And I love that, I love that you share right at this time. Like right now, it probably is not is when it's not conducive for us to do that, but perhaps there'll be an opportunity. And so
Yeah,
I love that we're open that way. That's the beautiful thing
absolutely.
about our school system, is that we get to facilitate this in the way that works best for us, and we don't necessarily have someone articulating that to us and then we gotta follow it. But so let's go back to the question about incorporating Quran and the sunnah of the prophet into the lesson and
So,
the
um,
garden. Is
so
that easy?
it's not hard. It's just that you have to know, um, first of all, what you're going to teach. That's the first thing. We be at the beginning of the year, we do a 5 cent all about me. So who am I? I'm from Allah. Allah created me. Then we took a so all about me. Then we go to the 5 senses. And so as we're doing our all about me, I'm a creative Allah. I respect. So all those things tie in. So what I do is I go with anything, I'll go to the Quran, and you can type in different surahs. And then this goes on not just for the garden club, but just in general. Sister Taser and I worked together as kindergarten about 3 years ago. And so we had to do the rainforest thing. So we had to go into the Quran, get things that are tied into whatever it is, and have the kids know the stories about the ayats about it. So you just, to make a long story short, you know what you're. If I'm doing all about me, I'm gonna go to the Quran. Who is, why did Allah make me? Then the 5 senses. Allah gave me senses. You know what is al basir, al samir, the Arabic to that. So to make it shorter, know what you're going to do. Go to the Quran, right? Now they got AI. AI can help you, and it breaks it down, and then you have it. But you just have to know what your plan is, and then tie it in, and then make it seamless. It shouldn't be disjointed. It should be blended with the children. Like, oh, this is what it is. Oh, okay. Oh, that's what it is. It should not be separate. It should
Right.
be combined.
So I find the Quran to be very scientific. It's it's very science based. So in the Quran it says Allah created the night and the day. And we see that you go outside, you see the night and the day. So
Seasons.
in earth science, we study the science of how it's night and day. And I tie that back to like, who else could make the earth spin on an axis at an angle and the sunshine? So it's just like, like this is how night and day works. And this is where it says it in Quran. So I draw those comparisons, the seasons, when we learn about the seasons, that kind of thing, and how Allah created the earth and how it works. So that's one of the things we do. The Big Bang Theory is all through Quran. Um, and how the universe was created and tying those things to and asking them, doesn't this sound like Quran? And letting them read it in class and letting them read the scientific definition of those theories. And also, the Quran speaks of us being made of clay or dirt. So if we're in physical science and we're looking at all the minerals and all this stuff on the periodic table, and where do you find it? In the earth, in the dirt. Okay, so let's look on the back of your, and I kind of help them prove it to themselves that we're made of clay, as Allah would say, as Allah says. Uh, because I said, look at all the stuff on the back of your vitamin container. All that stuff is in the earth. We talk about how the plants need it, how it comes out the dirt, what the dirt is made of. So you need all the stuff that's in the dirt. So because you're made of clay. So just proving, making those types of connections and helping them understand where they see science and Quran. And as much as I know it, I share it, and I continuously
Study.
am learning in that area. And I think it's a continuous process. I don't think you ever have all of it. So I hear what you're saying about that connection. Like I don't just want to put them in an Islamic environment and not pull their lessons from Quran. Like can we make a connection there? And I think that's a continuous process that we go through as teachers at Muslim schools, in making those connections in the creation of the earth. You come from the earth. What elements are found in the earth? What elements are found in you? What is an element? All those kinds of things we go through in middle school. pH. We have this big debate about water and pH. Please don't come for me on the internet, y'all. Like, how do you make water alkaline? I'm still like, what is that? And we go through that question. How do you keep it alkaline in a plastic bottle? Like, we test, like, how does that happen? Because water is basically this kind of pH. So we're learning about the pH of water. And we're learning about what is natural, what is not, and what could be like
Yeah.
marketing fibs that people are kind of telling us about stuff. So we go how water maybe has to go over certain minerals or contain certain minerals to be more alkaline, to be more acidic, and those things are found in the earth in certain places and not in other places. So drawing in Quran that way is, I try to do it a lot of uh every day, like where it touches them, so
Mhm.
it'll stick, kind of. If that
Yeah.
makes any sense.
Tangible, tangible.
It's tangible. Yes, thank you, Sister Cynthia.
No, I think that's amazing. And I love that you shared that it's a continuous learning,
Mhm.
It
even for
is.
the instructor, right? Because what came to mind to me when you said that is that, during the month of Ramadan, we're reading the Quran in its entirety. And no matter how often you read the book, like something new just pops out.
It does.
So I imagine that that also happens for you all as instructors, when it comes to making the connections between what's happening with the harvesting in the garden, the food coming farm to table, and then building it out in the curriculum. I have another question from AM360, caller 7888. Please ask your question.
Assalamu alaikum, alhamdulillah.
Walaikum assalam.
Alhamdulillah.
Lord, Hannah. Praise be to Allah. That's something I wrote I like to share. It's, education, the forefront of all our efforts, serving God, constantly make life better. Taqwa is next, is the balance with the spiritual and the material. Education leads society. We know what we must show. Education beautified cities and society, selling flowers, making a lot of money. Education, the hero of civilization, growing out our own food, proper health, and better situation, education, respecting and responding to the needs of community life situation. The Quran shows us how to live right. We serve food and also we serve our Creator. Develop the land, benefit from God's favor. Nature is the mother of education. Planet God, call the land, get the information. All knowledge comes from God and benefit more from what we are taught. Assalamu alaikum.
Wow, alaikum assalam.
Fine.
Thank you so much
Alhamdulillah.
for that. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. We
Alhamdulillah.
appreciate you for that. Yeah, so I love this conversation. I think that it's amazing what you all are doing, and I can tell it's a team effort, right? And
It
because
is.
yeah,
It has to
it's
be.
going from one to the other. The
Yes.
children gonna bring it to the chef. The chef gonna do what she do with it, and we're
Yeah.
gonna get it in the
Yes.
classroom. Now we're
With a
gonna have a
smile
whole
on
nother
the face.
lesson
Yeah.
about it. Like that's amazing. And I think even with that system, right? That's a modeling for our children. That it takes all of that collaboration, all of that cooperation in order for it to happen. And that's really good for them to learn, particularly in 2024, where so much in the social environment says, get it for your own, do it by yourself,
Yeah.
and list all the things all on your own.
And
I
you'd
don't
be
believe a
amazed
lot of them
how
though.
they love sharing. They love sharing. Like when they harvest, it's like, okay, what we gonna do with the food? Like they know that, are we taking it home? Are we giving it to teachers? Are we giving it to, our families? Are we taking it down to the cafeteria? And we tell them there are blessings in sharing and growing food and being caretakers of the earth. Our class, not class, school, what you call it, mascot is a Khalifa, one who maintains it, who takes care of the earth, and we teach them how to do that. One of the things they do when they find a worm in the soil, they have to name the worm and put it back. You know,
Yeah.
and they hate killing bugs. Like, is it a good bug or a bad bug? Do
Yeah.
we have to kill it? You gotta see little Muslim kids going Bismillah before they before they smush a squash bug because you're
Yeah.
like that bug is gonna eat all your squash, or you're gonna do a Bismillah and relieve it and take care of it. So it was like no. So it's a wonderful. I love it. I absolutely love it. That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite things is the garden and connecting children with the earth and studying Allah's creation through that.
Absolutely. I have a comment, Sister Francine. I echo Sister Francine's sentiment. She says, "Where are the adult schools for the adult Muslims?" And I was laughing when I saw the comment, right? Because earlier, I think it was when Chef Anissa was, yeah, she was talking about the children saying, yeah, I don't eat that, and I got an allergy to this. I may not necessarily say I got an allergy to it, but I am the queen of, yeah, I don't eat that.
I change people's minds on what they don't eat so much.
Listen, I
It's a
probably need
mission.
to spend a week at the school and be there for
Yes,
lunchtime because
Yeah.
yes,
I'll be like, I
yes,
don't eat
please.
that.
My room is in the back of the middle school hallway. You can come bring your child with you. They can come visit, and you can come spend the week with us. Ag Day is Monday. Come dressed out to get dirty because we do get dirty,
You get
and we
dirty.
can eat some food and grow some food and eat some food and have a great time. You're
Yeah.
more than welcome.
Listen, I think I might have to take a trip because I'll definitely be like, I don't eat that. No,
And
no.
We
don't miss Taco
absolutely
Tuesday either. Don't miss Taco
Hey,
Tuesday.
no
That's a
taco.
big day.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
So our rules for we don't eat that is you have to try
At
it
least
just a
try it.
little bit. You
At
don't
least
have to
try it.
like it. Just try it. And
Yeah.
then sometimes they don't know, I don't like that. And then we go, well, what do you think you can add to it? Do you need a little salt, a little pepper, a little garlic, the this or that?
Yeah.
Like one of the things we taught with our high schoolers last year, we had a class, a culinary arts class, and they like everybody likes ramen. Everybody knows
Oh
that
my
Yes.
God.
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
healthiest thing, but teenagers eat them, right?
Yeah.
So we was like, how can you make a healthier ramen? So we had seasoning, so they don't have to use the season pack. We had they had to go get something green from the garden that they could add to their season to their ramen, and they made up their ramen, and they add a little bit more garlic, a little bit more onion, a little bit more tomo, and they're learning what these spices are. They're
Mhm.
learning how to make their ramen healthier and still taste good for them, to
Mhm.
them. So, yeah, so they're learning how to eat well and eat better, even the things that are, they
Oh,
enjoy. When
yeah.
are the adult classes? So I tell this story, Sister Tara don't like me to tell it all the time. So I was one of those adults that wanted to learn how to garden because I didn't grow up gardening. And Sister Terry used to offer Saturday garden days. Sometimes she still does. It's like, bring the kids, come on up to the garden. And I used to show up without my kids all the time. And then finally she just said, Sister, I love to teach children how to garden. And I'm like, well, you got me. So she finally just put me to work. So to all the people that just want to start somewhere, just show up. Just keep showing up. We got you'll get put to work and you'll learn something.
Yes. Because I definitely
Absolutely.
didn't know when I started, and I'm learning.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Okay.
learned because I didn't know, and so I learned, and still learning. Alhamdulillah,
Yeah.
still
Alhamdulillah.
No,
learning.
that's great. That is so great. I just want to acknowledge Sister Terry. She is watching in the background. I wish I could share her comments to the screen, but from where she is, I can't pull hers over. But she is in the background rooting you all on. I can almost imagine her smiling
Yeah,
at all that she is listening to. She talks about the fact that you all even that you can chickens
Yes, we did.
Canned
We
chickens. She said pickles.
yeah.
She talks about the composting, which I actually love composting. I love
Really?
composting. So when my children were younger, I don't do it here now, but I remember my children were younger. I would take them to here we have the Liberty Science Center,
Oh, we know
and
that.
I would take them to Homeschool Wednesdays, and they sent us home with a compost jar, and it had worms in it, and I was more excited than the children. So I would have been like you, Taser, like I'm coming to the class. The kids don't even care. I'll come.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean, this has been a. Go ahead, Dr. Patricia.
Oh, I was just gonna say, just the mere fact that we making the things that you're doing, and I want to say we too, but I want to be a part of this. I want to
You
say,
are.
okay, thank you. We are doing with these children the gardening, connecting them to Allah's creation. You can imagine the minds, the creativity, the curiosity that will blossom, that is blossoming. And when they get off to college and whatever they study, they're going to be the best at it. They're going to be so good at what they're doing. And we're going to have we may have some farmers from this,
Yes.
some people who may not be a farmer, but into agriculture, in the science in that area. It's just amazing what kind of things that you start with that we're starting right now with our children. And I really thank you for doing it and have that enthusiasm for it. It is amazing. The children are going to really benefit from this. And inshallah, I can get the parents in the classroom, and because we talk about adults, but it would be great if parents could get into learning how the earth and how to connect to the earth, because then they can help their children too, and it won't be such a task when they come to you and you have to work at it so hard with them.
The
So
parents are
we
supportive. The parents
we
are
accept
supportive.
we accept volunteers because our
Yes.
garden is operated with volunteers.
Alhamdulillah.
So parents can come and volunteer during the week on a Monday or Thursday. It depends on what day they want to come. Or any day during the week, or a Saturday or Sunday. Our garden is open. It never closes. So sometimes it's good to come when someone's there so you can learn your way around and learn
Right.
the chores that need to be done. So you can come on your own schedule. That's one of the beautiful things about our garden. I think that one of the reasons it works so well is that you come when you're available and you do what you can do, and not everybody can do the same thing. And
Right.
it just works out. Like one sister, she just comes and plants sunflowers during the summer, random places, and they just pop up and they're just like these giant sunflowers. Why are there sunflowers in the middle of my tomato bed? I
Yes,
don't
they are.
know. But they're beautiful and we just have fun with it. So you come do what you can. Parents, I mean, it's everybody's garden. It's a community garden and you're
Right.
welcome. So when you're down, come on down, middle
Right.
school hallway.
I do. I do.
Okay.
Anytime I'm in Atlanta, I come to the garden.
But,
All right.
Assalamu alaikum. I have to leave. I have to pick up someone. So I have
All
to
right. I'll
No
exit.
see you
problem.
next week, Sister Sadia.
Yes, I'll see that if not before.
Or if
If not
not before.
before.
Yes, and we thank you for joining us this evening too.
You're welcome.
I really appreciated learning how we incorporate this learning with our youngest ones, those kindergartners. So we
Yes.
appreciate you for being with us. So we're gonna wrap up this conversation. I mean, we could keep going. This thing can go on and on. I do have on AM 360. I have two more callers. I just want to check in to make sure they didn't have.
Assalamu
I don't
alaikum.
know if there's an additional question because it was the same ones who made a comment already. But caller 3149, do you have an additional question? If so, feel free to ask.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
So I
assalam.
just had one to add on some what the sister was saying about, I almost I will try to write it down, Oh yeah, because alkaline. Like back in the days when there was a lack of alkaline, we used to mix 7-Up with the water because it was hot and alkaline. So I don't know how the 7-Up is during this time, but back in the days, that's what we used to do. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, yeah. Sister said, don't come for her about that alkaline. She don't really know. she don't really know.
I still need to know the science behind that. Like, how do you make water? Okay, so it's alkaline when what happens? And you
Right.
keep it that way by doing, okay. So I'm gonna need some science behind that. I'm sure somebody gonna see me at the masjid. Sister, when you
Yeah. It's
so
for you.
explain
It's
that
for you.
alkaline water to me.
And caller 7888. Do you have another comment or question before we close out?
Yes. Alhamdulillah. I'd like to share this before I leave.
Sure.
The bigger universe, the bigger university is the universe. Successful people benefit from keeping God first. He has given us a field to work in. This stands is up in heaven and the earth. We should work collectively for the best future. Creation will give up the treasures of Allah's bounty without measure. The Quran sensitizes us and it prepares us to follow laws, rules, and principle of logic. Growing our own food is indeed a great benefit. Save money on doctor visits. We won't get seriously sick. Bad health, check out the spirit. A lot of us don't have Medicare or Medicare. We can keep more of our own share. Let's treat everybody as better. We must be fair if we really care. I'm looking at having doing a little garden in my backyard. I see down the street from my house, I think Naval University. They done started back up a garden that they have. So I'm gonna go down there probably tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna go down there tomorrow and talk with them and see how I can connect with them.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. I'm so glad that this conversation helped to motivate that for you too. And I just wanted to add on, I heard when Dr. Patricia was saying, that from all that the children are being exposed to, we're going to have some extraordinary minds that are developed with it. And she named it, maybe we'll have some gardeners, maybe we'll have some scientists, and we may also have some great chefs, right? Because I think
yes.
I think that what Chef Anissa does is amazing to just, like if you told me, okay, well, we don't know what we're going to have tomorrow, but we're going to bring it to you and you're going to have to make do with it. I'll be like, So I just wanted to say, and some great chefs too. But this has been a wonderful conversation. I really appreciate you all for joining us. I hope that for those who are listening and for those who are watching, that we've inspired you to do something great with a garden and incorporating children and incorporating this into your curriculum and the education that you prepare or the instruction that you prepare for the children in your lives, whether it's in the school setting or at home. I hope that this has been a motivation for you. You are listening and watching The Power of Educating Our Own. It's hosted by the Clara Mohammed Schools Network. And until next week, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Sister Clara Mohammed, a black Muslim woman from Macon, Georgia, was an extraordinary leader and pioneer. Her contributions, especially in the development of Islamic education in America, paved the way for thousands of Muslim families to take ownership of their children's future, starting at a time when homeschooling was illegal in the United States. She eventually established a network of schools that was later named Sister Clara Mohammed Schools in her honor by her late son, Imam Warith Din Muhammad, rahimahullah. Sister Clara Muhammad helped to establish the important role women had in early Muslim American history and was an inspiration to future generations of leaders. Without her, there would not have been a nation of Islam, or the unique Sunni Muslim community that evolved from it, one that was acutely aware of the concerns and aspirations of women. May Allah have mercy on Sister Clara Muhammad.